Hi, today we're going to look at the um, guidelines or the format of the formal research summary. In order to do that, let's look at the guidelines that UT lays out for us. So I'm going to enter our course, go to modules, which is our table of contents, and scroll down to 2.3.1, which is the research summary to high school upload. I'll pull that up and click 2.3.1 Research Summary 2. This has the instructions laid out for us, and I'm paying particular attention to the format. So it tells me the first thing I need to do is put my name in the top left-hand corner and put your high school instructor's name immediately below that. So let's start by creating a document. I'll go to a new tab and click docs.google.com to create my document. I'm going to create a blank document and then follow the instructions. I'll title the document FRS for Formal Research Summary .Ritchie, which is my last name. It asked in the upper left-hand corner for me to type my name, which is Kelly Ritchie, and underneath it to type my high school instructor's name, which is Miss Ritchie. It said immediately beneath it, it did not ask me to double space it, so I did not. Next, it asked me to include the full MLA-style bibliographic citation entry of the piece I'm summarizing. So in order to do that, I'm going to need a couple of things. First, I'll need the article, which I've got pulled up on my screen right now, and I'll need to know how to do a works cited. So I'm going to go into our Google Classroom, and under classwork, there's an assignment called Works Cited that has all the information that I'll need. There's two primary documents I'm going to use. The first one is the MLA 8th edition Works Cited, which is right here. The easiest thing for me to do is to open this with a Google Doc. The other thing I'm going to need is the MLA 8th edition examples. All right, so I've got both of these. In my Google Doc, you'll see that I have a chart that I can actually fill out. And you'll see that I've actually started filling this chart out. It asks for the author's name. So over here, I'll type in the author's name. So from In Short Supply, my author is Yoram Unguru, which I've got typed in here. Last name, comma, first name, period. Just exactly as it explains right here. Then it asked me for the title of the source, and the title of the magazine is called In Short Supply. It's got a period and it's in quotation marks. The title of the container where this magazine was published, that's Hopkins Medicine, and it's italicized. Then it's got some other information after it, but since I got my article online, as did most of you, I'm going to stop with this right here. And I'm going to put these three things in the exact order that they're shown right here. Okay, so I'll have my author's name, followed by the title of the article, followed by where the article was published. So if I come over here, I'm just going to copy and paste this right from the chart. So Control C, Control V. Underneath it, I've got the title of the article. Put a space, title of the article. That did not work. We'll try that one more time. There we go. Space. Then I've got my next thing, which is where this was published. So I'm going to copy that and then I'm going to paste that. Okay. Now I need to go to my other piece of information, which is examples. I pulled this article online. So I'm actually going to come to this section that says articles found in online newspapers, magazines, or professional websites. It's got the author's last name, the title of the article, where it was published, followed by a comma. So far, my works cited looks just like this. The next thing it has is the URL, the website, followed by a period. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to copy this website and I'm going to paste that next. So after the comma, I'm going to paste this. Now it pasted it in italics. I don't want that. So I'm going to take the italics off and I'm going to put a period after it and hit enter. And now that looks very similar to this. The only other thing it has is the access date. Accessed, and that's the date I pulled this article. Well, I pulled it today, so I'm going to put today's date, and it has the date, the month, and the year. So I'm going to type in accessed for October 2020, period. Okay. All right. It actually has the date all the way spelled out, so I'm going to go ahead and change that to all the way spelled out, and it's got a period at the end of it. So that is what I'm going to do, OCTOBER. Okay, so that's from the UT Works Cited page. Now, this needs to be, if you notice the way that this looks, okay, these have what we call a hanging indent. Normally when we indent, the first line moves in and the rest of the text stays toward the margin. But that's not what's happening here. The first line stays toward the margin and the other text is moved in. It's called a hanging indent, and you can do that. If you go to Google Doc and you go to Format, you can pull it down and you'll see a tab called Align and Indent. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to come all the way down to where it says Indentation Options. I'll click that, and this is a special kind of indent. Again, it's called a hanging indent. So when I click that and apply, it does it for me. There you go. And this is exactly how my works cited should look. Okay, so I've got my name, my instructor's name, my works cited. Let's look at what UT asks us to do next. It says that we need to set our margins to 1 inch and the spacing to single spaced, and the font should be 12 points. So let's check the formatting of our paper. In order to do that, I need to click View and make sure that my ruler is showing. I can tell on my ruler that I've got an inch margin here, an inch margin here, and an inch margin here. So my paper does have 1 inch margins. That's good. It is also single spaced for me right now, which is just where I want it. And it's in Times New Roman 11 point. I'd like to be consistent. Times New Roman is a good font, so I think I'll stick with that, Times New Roman. And I need to make it 12 points. There we go. Okay, so now everything I write from now on will be in that font. The last thing that I need to do when I'm writing my paper regarding formatting is to make sure that I am using parenthetical citations, and those are those parentheses. So anytime I cite my source, I'm going to put it in parentheses, and it asks me to list the paragraph number. And I'd list it, PAR period, and then the paragraph number. So let me show you what that looks like with another example. Here's one that I wrote earlier. I've got my introduction, and the first time that I quote is in the second paragraph. And Guru begins his argument by discussing the consequences of the patients with no access to the needed drugs and expressing his surprise that this, quote, American problem has failed to attract significant attention. He wrote that in paragraph 2, which I have as PAR.2 in parentheses, and then I put my period outside of that parentheses to end the paragraph. And after you have all of those things, you should have a correctly formatted paper for UT. We've got our name, we've got our bibliographic information, our margins are set correctly, we're using 12-point font, single spaced, and we're using the formatting for parenthetical citations within our page number, within our text itself. So if you've got that, your paper should look just the way it's supposed to. All right, thanks, and check out another video if you need more help with your formal research summary.